Wolf with the OVR, and we are here today with Jenna and Brian Hoffman, who are also with the OVR. Some of you probably have not actually met our commissioner, but Brian Hoffman is the commissioner of the Ohio Valley region of USA Volleyball, and Jenna is on the board of directors and also on the media and engagement team. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys to let you introduce yourselves to everyone.
I'm Brian Hoffman. I am in year 2 of serving as the commissioner of the Ohio Valley region of USA Volleyball. I still work at Ohio Northern University. I run the sport management program here. Prior to becoming commissioner, I was the assistant women's coach for 30 years at ONU, and I coached our men's club team for 16 years as well.
I am Jenna Thedin. I'm in my first year of being on the OVR board and also serve, as Linnea said, on the media marketing and engagement team. I currently work at the University of Charleston, an NCAA Division II school in West Virginia, where I was the volleyball coach for 8 years, and I've been coaching club for 19 years. And I also work at the university as the assistant athletic director for recruitment and retention, as well as the academic athletic success director. And I'm the director of Vantage Volleyball. Let's not forget that.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Okay, so what we have here on the screen is one example of what coaches tend to post these days on Instagram or other forms of social media to kind of show athletes where they're going to be. And as you can see, our Columbus events, Winterfest, President's Day, and our bid, and this is one example, but those three tend to be on most of the recruiting schedules that we see online. So what I was hoping the two of you could do today is kind of share with our athletes what it is that coaches are looking at in prospective athletes when they attend our events like this.
Well, I think that can be a simple question and not a simple question. So I think first, obviously coaches are looking for skills. They're looking for those positions to fill their rosters. But I think they're looking for a lot of intangibles as well how do you interact with your teammates on the court? How are you interacting with your coach? And just, they're thinking, if you come to my team, at my schools, how are you going to impact my team? So coaches have many different positions to fill. And so it's not just always skill-based, but looking for who's going to really add to my team dynamic and culture.
Yeah, and on top of what Jenna talked about, I would spend a lot of time looking for an athlete who's a really good athlete, who maybe wouldn't necessarily have always had the best coaching, but you just see a lot of potential in them. That's one of the challenges that I loved as a coach is how can I help someone reach their fullest potential? So you can't teach athleticism, you can't teach things like height. So if you can find some of those intangibles or those physical traits that you're willing to work on are really important. Another thing that was really important to me when I was recruiting, Jenna talked about the interaction with teammate and coaches. I also would spend a significant amount of time trying to find parents and sometimes interact with them, but a lot of time just watching the parents and watching how they watch the match. If parents were real chippy and yelling at the officials or yelling at the coach or yelling at other kids, realistically, it meant their daughter was probably going to be somewhat of a issue for us as a coaching staff as well. So we would tend to shy away from those. So again, whether we like it or not, and you'll appreciate this as you get older, recruits, we tend to kind of reflect oftentimes our parents. So again, if I saw some issues in the parents, I would anticipate some of those issues would reflect themselves in the athlete. So we would stay away from that. I did like athletes who would show good energy. Again, their interaction, and especially when an athlete would make a mistake, it was really important to see how he or she responded. Did they isolate themselves from teammates? Were they open to a coach maybe give them a little critique or some constructive criticism to try and change things? Again, all of us as coaches want athletes who are coachable too. So we spend a lot of time watching their interaction and their body language is really important.
Yeah, body language, I can't even stress that enough. And I think we're coaching kids in our club gym. It's like, it doesn't matter necessarily if our team is winning or not, like a coach is going to recruit you. So I always found it interesting when I'd ask a recruit, how'd the weekend go? And they'd be like, oh, like our team lost. And it's like, okay, but like, how did you do? Because I'm recruiting you to come fit in with my team. I still want your team to do well and be successful. But I think athletes sometimes get lost in their team instead of like, hey, I need you to come fill in as libero on my team or be a hitter on my team. And so body language, like as Brian said, extremely huge. Watching, like he said, as they interact with coaches, parents, all the above, teammates. I think that's even if you're not playing, even if you're on the bench or you're out for 3 rotations, it's like what's your behavior on the bench, even between games. I always liked being there during warmups and after the game to see kind of those personal reactions as well.
Yeah, and I think I would add on top of that, as a college coach, I don't really care if you're winning or losing, but at times if the score is really tight and it's the third set and it's 13-all, were you the player that's looking to pass the ball and serve receive? Were you the outside hitter, asking for the ball? Were you the setter telling your back row, this is where you want the pass to be and communicating? So also looking at maybe how athletes handle some of those pressure situations. Because again, at the collegiate level, the pressure is going to be ramped up significantly more because every match at the college level has significant weight in terms of a conference championship, your ability to go to the NCAA tournament, because there's so few bids that are out there for each team. So can you handle the big moments? And again, not necessarily that you perform every time, but if you made a mistake, do you ask for the ball back or do you, change something, or what does your body language say in those big moments is really important.
To add on Brian's, I think position specific things is looking at your setter on the court. Is she talking to her hitters? Is she giving that ball back to hitters that are asking for the ball again? And liberos, we want to see backcourt leadership. Liberos have high control and serve receive and they should be talking to their hitters as well. So really also looking at, those position specific IQs and how players are talking to the players in play and between plays, and are they helping each other out? If you can get a player with a high IQ and see that that's visible during a game, that's always a good thing.
Absolutely.
You guys, thank you. Is there anything else that you think would be helpful for our athletes to know before this weekend?
Another thing I would share with athletes is when coaches talk to you or you go on visits, as Jenna already mentioned, the coaches are recruiting you. Yes, your parents are really important because I know Jenna and I both recruit good families. But when you're on a visit or you have a chance to showcase yourself in front of a coach, let yourself shine. Make sure you're the one who's talking. Your parents should not be talking for you. At times, yeah, you do want your parents to probably, promote you and boast about you a little bit. But if you let your parents do all the talking about you during a visit or an interaction with a coach, that's not going to reflect well on you. And it's going to show that you're maybe a little timid. And again, I think of those crunch times, who are those kids who have some self-esteem? The university our mascot is a polar bear. And I always told our young woman, we are polar bears. We need to hear you roar. So again, as young women, it's really important that you have a voice and that you use your voice. Yes, your parents helped you, but now show your voice and you are the one communicating with the coach, unless the coach is asking a specific question to your parents. Nothing kind of irritated me more when I would ask a recruit a question and the recruit would look to their parents and then the parents would answer the question. That was not a young woman or a young man that I definitely probably was interested in recruiting in, no matter how talented they were.
Yeah, I can resonate with that. And I think even just in in-person conversations, but also in emails, it was often easy to see or read an email that was probably generated by parents instead of the athlete. So athletes, have your parents look over an email and proof it for you, but definitely send your own emails so that your voice comes through. And as Brian said, we're recruiting you, the athlete, not your parents. And we want young women and men that can think for themselves and be able to hold their own, because that's what's going to happen when you get to a campus. It's a coach and player relationship, and coaches want to see that, hey, this is a athlete that I'm going to be able to build a relationship with and have a coach-player relationship with, and be able to help grow them throughout their collegiate career. So I think, as Brian said, as much as you can, like, you want to showcase who you are, and that you can have conversations about volleyball and just, have high confidence and project yourself forward.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much for joining us today for this. And we'll see you guys at President's Cup.
All right. Sounds great. Good luck to everyone this
Thanks,
weekend.
Anna.
Thank
Yep.
you.